age. I'm pleased that you're here today to watch and learn about the expedition of the ozone flutes. Together, London and Haifa have existed thousands of years and gone through many incarnations. The city's arteries, through which life flows like those of the body, need to be opened up in order to release the accumulated obstructions of time. Many people were involved in many ways to help ensure the success of the journey, from technical assistance to spiritual guidance, all specialists in their fields. These people help to map out the metropolises and find sick points in need of energetic healing where the ozone flutes are implanted. Before we start, I want to thank all the partners on this journey whom we will soon meet. It is my hope that this film will take us all to a new era, in part heralded by the small ozone flutes.
זה מתחיל מתחושה מאוד מאוד חזקה שמשהו חסר. שכל מה שמסביב הוא יכול להיות מאוד יפה, הוא יכול להיות מאוד מפתה, מאוד מסקרן, אפילו מאוד מעניין, אבל הוא ביסודו ממש ממש חסר. הוא לא הסיבה שבשבילה נולדנו הנה. ואז מתחיל חוסר שקט נוראי, חוסר שקט שאוחז בך בנפש, בגוף, והוא שולח אותך לצאת לדרך חדשה שעבורי שינתה את הכל. בכל דבר, ביחסים עם אנשים, במין, באומנות, באיך שאתה אוכל, באופן שאתה מביט בעצמך במראה. אתה הופך להיות, אם אתה בוחר בזה, כמו פותחן בקבוקים של העולם. אתה עוד פותחן. יש אנשים שהם כמו פותחנים. הכל נראה לך סגור, צריך להתחיל לפתוח, זה נהיה אובססיבי, זה תופס אותך, אתה מתעורר אפילו בלילה. וגם מזה אתה צריך להירגע. להתחיל ללמוד איך עושים את זה.
Martins in the field was there. Mm-hmm. This one, and then something to bringing it. Where's that? Coming out. Oh, it's here. So it's a funny sort of triangle, isn't it?
No, it's a right
it can't be
triangle.
there. It can't be there. Maybe it's down here, Green Park. There's there with this lovely trees.
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting sort of a bit of rush.
Green Park.
Yeah. So let's mark that as the centre of London.
So what should we put?
C for centre.
What colour?
Any colour. Okay, thank you. Could you do me, please?
Felina Bruce has lived on Russell Street in London for the past 20 years. She earns her living as a space healer and spirit releaser. The connection with Felina was made in the fall of 2010. She joined on as a guide in the first journey for planting the flutes. Felina's dedicated assistants, Garrett and Amravati, participated in the meetings.
by the way, is an eagle's feather. It's very difficult to get your hands on the eagle's feather. The only people who are allowed to get that are American Indians who are shamans. And I was given it by one. I mean, as such, you know, it's you can't kind of get them. They're illegal to have unless you have been given them or got them, you know, that way. So, I've spent a lifetime of clearing my own act up. I mean, I've done over 30 years at it. Not obviously every day, but a lot of the time. And the more clear you get yourself, like getting yourself a clear channel without hang-ups, problems, hatreds, holding difficult mixed energies, the more one's able to help other people. Because also at that point you can tell what is their problem, what is yours. So many people in life blame other people for something that is actually their own fault, or because they can't tell the difference. It's like we always sort of say in the trade that if you accuse somebody of doing something and they get angry, it means that your accusation is accurate, otherwise why are they getting angry? If you accuse somebody of doing something they haven't done, they'll normally say something like, well, I didn't do that, or I don't think I think like that, or whatever. They won't suddenly start getting furious.
Yeah, I understand it.
And so when somebody is clear, they react normally to the situation. When they're not clear, they don't. So I find when I'm working with people, I pick up their ailments in me. I mean, I remember something that happened in the days that I was teaching that was quite funny, really. One of the children was complaining he had toothache, and I said, yeah. I said, bottom jaw, left-hand side, 3 teeth along from the front. Wow, miss, she's a witch, said these other children.
אחר, אם אתה ער ואתה פתוח לסוגים שונים של אינפורמציה, אז אתה יכול לעקוב אחרי שינויים בצורה הרבה יותר פתוחה ומדויקת מרק אם אתה בודק מה עכשיו, אם ברחוב הזה, נגיד, אם מישהו עברי מעיוורון והחליל שלך עשה את זה, זה ודאי לא המטרה שלי.
מה המטרה שלך?
צור מקום.
מה זאת אומרת?
אני מתעורר מוקדם, מרגיש שאני צריך עץ. אז אני הולך למצוא את העץ הנכון. ואני מוצא. לוקח לי חצי שעה. אני מגיע לעץ שמחכה לי כבר הרבה זמן, מה שנקרא. אני לא בן אדם מטייל. אני הולך למצוא. תמיד אני הולך למצוא. לא תמיד אני יודע מה, אבל אני יודע שאני צריך למצוא עכשיו משהו.
Ariel Atad has a long reputation for his ability to locate and open the energy of places. Ariel lives in Haifa and is familiar with the cities on levels not perceived by the 5 senses. With the aid of his magic stick, sites in the holy city were located for implanting the flutes. Okay.
פה?
לא. זהו, פה נגמר העולם.
מה?
פה נגמר העולם. צריך לעשות, זהו.
וכשזה עלה, אז הם ישר העיפו, הם כאילו לא רוצים לדבר על זה. ממש בקושי מצאתי מישהו שיסכים. עכשיו, זה ברור לי, כאילו, גם בלי שום עניינים מטאפיזיים, שהעיר יש בה איזה עניין כזה, זה נמצא גם בעיתוני כלכלה ובעיתונים של קבוצות רוחניות ובתקשורים שאני שומע מכל מיני כיוונים, אבל חיפה תמיד מרגישה לי כמו מין יפהפייה נרדמת כזאת, שהזמן עצר בה מלכת. ויש שם איזו מועקה שקשורה לשינה ארוכה מדי. הרגשתי
Zoe Brand lives in South End Green, London, and is devoted to the practice of shamanism. She has traveled throughout the world investigating many shamanic cultures, and through self-training has become a prominent figure in shamanism of the Western world. With the help of the spiritual guides which she ceremoniously invites, she looks for answers to questions that no living person in this world can provide.
Going on a journey to meet my spirit helpers and ask them to show me where, if anywhere, in the landscape of central London there are blockages of energy. I'm going on a journey to meet my spirit helpers and to ask them to show me where, if anywhere, there are blockages of energy in the landscape of central London. I'm going on a journey to meet my spirit helpers and to ask them to show me where, if anywhere, there are blockages of energy in the landscape of central London. I'm in the place where all the worlds meet, and I'm surrounded by all my spirit helpers, new and old. Some of them have been with me for many years, some of them have been with me only a few days. And I'm standing in the centre of the circle, and there's a fireplace, a hearth with stones around, and today the fire is lit and the flames are healthy and strong. And I say to all of my spirit helpers in the circle that I've come to ask to be shown where, if anywhere, there are energy blockages in the landscape of central London. And my upper world teacher steps forward, and my vulture and my crow, and I say, is anyone else ready to come with me? Get on the back of my condor, and I rise up into the air, and the vulture and the crow are with me, and my upper world teacher is with me. And we rise up out of the circle, and I'm looking down and I can see the circle below, and all my teachers are looking up and waving, and I can see the fire at the middle of the circle. And we're rising up into the air, and we're moving south. And we're moving very fast over farmland and over green landscape, over trees. And now in the distance I can see the outline of a huge city. And it's the edge of London, and I recognise it. And now we're coming lower down, and I can see houses and streets and cars and people walking. And my condor keeps on gliding. It's not flapping, it's just gliding. And we're gliding quite low now over the houses. And now we've stopped, and we're on the top of Nelson's Column in Trafalgar Square. And the condor has perched there, and I'm still on its back. And the crow and the vulture and my upper world teacher are there. And I say, this is the centre of London. Can you show me where, if anywhere, there are energy blockages in this part of the city? And my teacher takes me by the hand, and I leave my condor behind, and the crow is on my left shoulder, and the vulture is flying beside me, and we're moving up through the air now. I'm going up, and I'm looking down at the landscape below me. I can see Trafalgar Square and the National Gallery, and I can see a dark circle on the ground.
האנשים האלה הם שגרירים, הם שגרירים של רבדי קיום שעדיין לא מוכרים לנו. כשאנחנו רואים איש כזה, שאנחנו נתקלים בו בדברים שהוא אומר, לפעמים אפילו באופן שהוא הולך ברחוב, אנחנו מרגישים סוג של תדר אחר. תשמעי, יש היום דברים שאף אחד לא יודע להסביר. הדבורים הולכות ומתות בכל רחבי העולם. שום מדען לא מוצא לזה תרופה. מה קורה לדבורים? מה קורה לדבורים?
Describe a future event retrospectively, and when we're talking about the riots, the London riots, you know what they said in the news. You know there was a demonstration about this person that was killed by the police, and this was the trigger to the violence. However, this future event started subtly and microcosmically much earlier.
Avi Pichon is a writer, artist, and curator living and working in London. His work focuses on utopian and monumental aesthetics. During Eitan's trip to London, Avi accompanied him as advisor on the city's occult folklore and the contemporary concept of psychogeography.
The ozone flutes helped the people of London to externalize accumulated rage in a way that didn't cause complete destruction. It didn't bring the end of law and order in London, and it also didn't bring a revolution, okay? It stayed in a certain equilibrium, which it's part of a sacred cycle that the flutes are active participants in it, and the Londoners are active participants in it, and the cycle is constantly present. And at this point, we are waiting in our imprisonment in linear time to see what's next. And it's not coming up next because it's already here. We just have to react to it. And there will be more. There will be more events that I will certainly be able to associate with the ozone flutes.
First place that we're starting, it's a graveyard. It's a church.
How do you feel being here?
I don't know, it's new to me, this place, but I think it's a good place to start from the dead. Filina wants me to put here a flute. Actually, I have some feeling here of dead children, not of dead adults. Because I feel here some kind of playful energies in this graveyard. What do you think?
I think it's quite eerie how the gravestones don't have any names on them because they're so old. But I agree with the idea of playfulness, especially because now the church is being used for a playgroup. So children are in and out of the church using it. I think there's I'm assuming that a lot of children play in the garden surrounding here. So I think it's quite interesting how it interacts with the gravestones and the children, but it seems like a place almost forgotten.
Yeah, I have some kind of feeling of grief, of sadness, which is connected to some mother on her child that he died very early in his life. The mother is also dead maybe hundreds of years ago, but the grief is still here. And I think that this flute will need to
I'm just explaining that within the earth there are concentrations of energy that's flowing, which is a bit like the veins and arteries in a body. And it doesn't mean that energy isn't in the rest of the earth, but it's concentrated there. And in a normal environment, not a city, that this energy will be relatively clean. But because we have factories and various other things going on within the city, these lines get very polluted, particularly with electromagnetic pollution, with chemicals and radioactivity, all these various things. So what we have to do as earth healers is keep cleansing these lines, because then they will carry the good, clean energy to all the other places and continue to feed the area, which is what their job is. This happens all over the world. It's not nothing to do with London. So I started off this location of the points by trying to find the lines in that area. And one easy way of doing this is to go back to the ancient times. What used to happen was that the Celtic original people here in this country, pre-Christian, they would always use these sites because where the energy is like intersection of two lines is a very common one, because they were able to feel and know that there was more energy there. And these were like portals and gateways to other dimensions, both within the earth and externally. And so they put their places of worship and ceremony. I mean, Gareth knows all about this, but what happened then was when the Christians came, they then took those places and made them into churches. And now, even if it's a new church, quite often it's still an ancient site. It's not that the people who are building the churches now are really aware, are they?
No, not at all. Maybe one thing. What you often get in Catholic countries is like a small shrine, and then later on, when the population grew, they turned a small shrine into a church. So they were keeping up the pattern.
But what I understood was why they put them on sacred spots was one, to stop the local pagans being able to get to their spot to worship, and to encourage them, if they did want to get to their spot to worship, they then had to become Catholic.
הירח הוא בעצם הפך להיות שבוי. הירח, ננסה לדמיין, זה כוכב או מסה אנרגטית שבעצם משרתת היום את הכוחות באשר הם, כדי ליצור פה איזשהו חיזיון שווא, אוקיי? ש-make believe, שגורם לך לחשוב שאתה נמצא בתוך סיפור כזה וכזה, שאתה בעצם נמצא בהישרדות תמידית.
Oded Mansoura, holistic healer and master of the Kabbalistic language of letters, devotes himself to supporting the transition of humanity to higher dimensions and frequencies. According to him, the genetic code of human development lies in the roots of ancient Hebrew letters. Oded was consulted regarding letter frequencies in the journey to implant the ozone flutes.
הצעה שהיא ברמות חסרות תקדים, שיוצר דחיסות וצפיפות, שכמובן מייצר חום בהיבט מסוים. ולכן גם ההיבט הזה אומרים שיש היום תיאוריות שהכתבים נמסים, וכדור הארץ הולך לעבור שינוי פולרי, אבל זה יותר מכל בגלל שאנחנו מגיעים באמת לסיום של סייקל, סיום של מעגל שהוא בין 26,000 שנה. אז שזה...
רגע, אז אתה בעצם אופטימי.
אני מאוד אופטימי, ללא כל ספק. לא, מאוד ספק, מאחר והתוכנית הבריאתית הראשונית, באשר היא מממשת את עצמה ומביאה אותן לתור הזהב. כאשר יש דגש מאוד חשוב על הזהב, ואנחנו נוסעים לעידן הזהב. אוקיי, זה תדר מאוד מאוד חשוב שהצופן של המילה זהב כבר מופיע בספר בראשית פרק ב'. כבר המילה זהב מופיעה שם, שהיא בדרכה של מלמד אותנו שאנחנו מוליכים. זהב זה המוליך הטוב ביותר בעולם. הסמליות של הזהב מתועדת בדרך לא דרך על ידי זה שתיעדו את הקדושים עם טבעת זהב מעל הראש שלהם. טבעת הזהב, כמו חליל או כמו מעטפת מסוימת. חליל זה בעצם תבנית של טבעות שנמצאות ברצף, טבעות שמחוברות שבעצם מייצגות מעגלים שנמצאים בסינכרוניזציה מסוימת. וכל מעגל הוא תדר, כל מעגל הוא אוקטבה של הבריאה. ואנחנו במסע שלנו אל עצמנו בעצם עוברים את המסע הזה מטבעת לטבעת, ולכן יש את הרחבת הטבעת. לכן כשאנחנו מתחתנים, אנחנו שמים טבעת על היד. זאת אומרת, אנחנו מבקשים להתקדש על הזכות, להיכנס לתוך סוד המחזוריות והמעגליות של העולם הזה, שבו הכל מעגל. זה אומר שאין לו התחלה ואין לו סוף.
May peace and love go with him, not only on London, but wherever he goes.
שהלכתי לקראת הנקודה, פשוט הרגשתי שאני הולך נגד רוח במהירות מטורפת. היה מקום שממש הרגשתי שהגוף שלי הולך ונתפס, ובאותו יום השתלתי רק חליל אחד וחזרתי למלון. אז היא דווקא אמרה שזה סימן שיש כוח מתנגד שבודק אותי. אני נעזרתי במומחים הרבה יותר גדולים ממני לאנרגטית, כמו פילינה, אריאל או זוי, ואני, ההתמחות שלי יותר בלייצר דברים בחומר, אבל...
It's extraordinary, and I even feel a certain affinity on a personal level because I think we are both also confused at the same level. Neither of us are trained. We are really like fumbling in the dark, okay? Because, I don't know, just one example from my general knowledge, Wilhelm Reich and his, life project of investigating organ energy, right? Negative energy and positive energy, which he said that the entire universe is made of.
אתה יודע מה זה מגנטיות?
לא.
מה מושך אותך? הוא נמשך.
כן.
מה באמת מושך אותך? ואיזה השפעה יש לזה על החיים שלך?
זה לא מגנטיות.
להתכוונן.
איך?
קח את העיניים, קח את האוזניים, קח את השפתיים ותראה מה בא. זה פה. זאת אומרת, מה שמושך אותך זה לא... זה כבר עובד עליך כרגע. זה פה. כבר בדרך לשם. זה לא משהו שיגיע בעוד 1000 שנה.
העיגול, החליל, הטבעת.
החליל הוא בעצם ביטוי לסדר קוסמי מאוד מאוד גבוה, שבעצם מגלם את עצמו כצינור. צינור זה גם ההיבט של הצוואר שלנו, שהוא בעצם הגשר, הצוואר שלנו זה הגשר בין הלב לבין הראש, בין הרציו לבין הרגש. אוקיי, והחליל הזה בדרכו שלו הוא בעצם מאופיין על ידי אפנון תדרים. יש לו יכולת בעצם להמחיש לנו את הבריאה הסובבת אותנו ואת העולם הסובב אותנו, שדרך מנעד תדרים שבעצם מגלם את סך כל הדרמות. אבל מעבר לזה, אם אתה באמת רוצה להבין מה זה חליל, אתה באמת רוצה להבין מה זה אלוהים, אתה באמת רוצה להבין מה זה עולם, אז אל תלך רחוק, תלך ברמה הכי בסיסית, תלך להבין את המהות האלכימית של החיבור של החטא למד יוד למד. אני רוצה להבין מה זה אלוהים, אני צריך להבין מה זה הצירוף של א' למד ה' יוד מ'. הכל נמצא שם, רק אף אחד לא טרח ללמד אותנו את זה, מסיבות כאלו או אחרות. למהות הזו שנקראת חטא, יש תפקיד מאוד מאוד מהותי בהוויה האולטימטיבית שלנו, שיותר מכל, קודם כל, למה קראו לחטא? קודם כל, להרחיק אותנו מהדבר הזה.
Regent's Park. And there's nothing. Regent's Park looks green and pleasant. And now I'm coming down towards Oxford Street, and I can see the place where the Middlesex Hospital used to be, and there's a very big hole there. It's the biggest one I've seen so far, and that's right in the forecourt. And that's pulling a lot of energy in. And then we've risen up into the air, and now we're going west, parallel to Oxford Street. And there's a hole in the middle of Oxford Circus, but it's the opposite. It's not sucking in, it's pushing out energy. And now Hyde Park, Marble Arch. And that's fine. And we're going over Hyde Park and down to Knightsbridge.
Here, we all need to breathe like an out-breath onto, to stand up, not now, to stand up and do it directly onto the flutes. Because remember, there is nothing more powerful than the breath. Like Jesus breathed on somebody, I can't, not a bit out of date with Jesus, but Jesus breathed on somebody and they came back to life or whatever. So I feel that we all in turn need to do an out-breath, or maybe more than one out-breath, depending on how many flutes one thinks one's covered, with the idea of giving them our power. But through us, we are channeling the power of the higher beings. So it's not just our power, but the powers that we channel as well as our power. So I think we just do it clockwise, one at a time. And try not to spit on them. Take a deep breath first.
Blessed be. Blessed be. Blessed be.
עכשיו אני צריך למצוא את המקומות לחלילים שלך. זה העבודה שלי. אני מוצא מקומות לכל מיני דברים. כן. זה לא... אתה חשקה נפשך בלתקוע חלילים. בכלל
בטח.
מה?
חלולים לגמרי.
חלולים. אבל יש אופציה שהם מנגנים מהם?
יש.
לא, אין להם חורים.
חלקם יש.
כן.
אבל הם, מכיוון שהם תקועים בתוך הקיר, אז כדי שיצא צליל, הקיר צריך לנשוף.
אז הקיר צריך לנשוף. יש קירות שנושפים. כן.
I'm not sure I know what are those sound frequencies doing, but I'm interested in finding out. And it doesn't matter to me that the context that allowed me to further explore this or experience it, and maybe, you know, I do believe in sound, and I come from the world of music, and I definitely believe that sound has an effect. Affects the body, in fact, affects the mind. But it was precisely this bizarre and ludicrous gathering of weirdos, and I was one of those weirdos. I was not an anthropologist standing from the outside looking in, and the part of me which ridiculed the whole situation ran its course after maybe 10 minutes, and then I was busy with the experience. So yes, this gathering of fools and clowns allowed me a glimpse into something I usually fail to allow myself to glimpse at in everyday life. Well, I can say that if I wasn't in a position of fragility, and my definition of fragility is when you're in between one state and the other. So you're not really fragile. It's not a position of weakness, it's a position of higher awareness and higher sensitivity to a succession of subtle events. And one of those events was the tailor approaching me. And you could also speculate that it might have worked the other way around, that the tailor was also sensitive to the fact that I was picking up broadcasts. Like, it's like two radio stations, right? And the two stations, the tailor and Avi Pichon, are broadcasting and picking up. So it works both ways. But as far as I'm concerned, this fragility meant that I didn't reject the transmission.
And I say, is this a dark energy place here? And the crow flies down and vanishes into it. and then it comes back out again and it's turned white. So it's like a white crow, which looks very strange. And I say, is this a place of blocked energy? And they say no. And I say, is there anywhere else that you can show me? And they say no. And I say, what is this blocked energy? And what is the cause of it? And my teacher's drawing on the ground. The ground is dusty and he's drawing with a stick and he's drawing a circle. And I'm looking at the circle and I can see the points on it and how they link up. And he says, this is the direction of the energy. The way that I travel, that's the direction in which it's moving. I said, why is that blocked? And he says, because things built on top of it have disturbed it. And I said, do you have any advice for Eitan about his work or how he can help these dark places? And he says that the flutes need to be fixed so that the air moves freely through them from one end to the other. And I say, does he need to know which ones to put in particular places? And they say that he will know, that he will feel which ones belong in which place, that he will know that himself. And I say, do you have any other advice or information today? And the vulture throws back his head and makes a loud noise and opens his wings. And I say, thank you very much to the three of them for showing me these things. And we go back to the condor, who's still sitting on top of Nelson's column on Nelson's head. And we all three get on his back and we lift up into the air, and I can see now like a red glowing line between these points on the map, and we lift up into the air and we go back over the landscape I saw before, over the farmland, over the woods, back to the circle where I met my spirit helpers. And we land in the middle, and I say thank you to all of them for being there. Thank you to the ones who came with me. Thank you for showing me these things. And I come back here. Okay.
יש לנו זכות מאוד מקודשת בעצם לגלות את עצמנו מתוך עצמנו אל עצמנו בתהליכי הבריאה, כי כל אחד מאיתנו הוא התגלמות של גלקסיה בפני עצמה. אם תחשוב, אתה נושא בתוכך טריליונים של כוכבים, כאשר כל תא מבחינתי הוא כוכב, זה חיים, עולמות, ישויות, ואתה בעצם המרכז של כל הדבר הזה. אנחנו בעצם נמצאים בבית ספר הגבוה ביותר לבריאה, לאלוהים, פה. זה המקום הכי מבוקש בעצם מההיבט היקומי, בעצם ללמוד את כללי המשחק, וגם במחיר של סבל, של כאב, של קושי ושל מה לא, אבל אנחנו יודעים שההבטחה היא אינסופית. ולכן בעצם כנשמות התנדבנו להיות פה, ברמות חסרות תקדים. מספיק שאחד יודע את זה, גם אם אין לי אנשים, ואני די מרגיש בודד, אבל עצם הידיעה עצמה, אני יכול להפיץ אותה בצורה מאוד שקטה, בצורה שהיא זורעת את עצמה ומטילה את עצמה על הסביבה. זה מספיק, ומי שרוצה להיות חלק בזה, מה טוב, ומי שלא, זה גם בסדר. אני פחות, אתה יודע, מרגיש שאני חייב להביא את זה החוצה.
Ask me questions at the end, but is there anything, any feeling that the energy has not been cleared, or more needs to be done on the clearance? Now, Aiton, is your question about the negative energy in this place, or is it about something else?
Something else.
Right, okay. So I need to bring joy in. Is your question anything about joy?
No.
So I think it might be better if you tell me what your question is, because this is a good breathing space.
I would like to ask you if you have a feeling that the flute has some influence, and what influence do they have on the energy of this site, this city in London?
I told you what I picked up about those flutes right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And no, this isn't a very good moment to tune into them. It's like one has to go with the flow of what's wanting to happen.
Okay.
If you interrupt it, you then lose it, and then you don't get what needs to happen. But I do feel that you're needing to have a lot of trust, and just trust that all's well. Right, now we need some, something about this needs livening up, and I feel we all need to stand up and dance for that. On the spot, please. Perhaps with bowls, but who knows a happy song?
Always look on the bright
side of life. Do-do, dee-doodle-doo-doo. Always look on the bright side of life. Dee-dee, dee-doodle-dee-dee. Look on the bright side of life. Do-hoo, woo-hoo, woo-hoo, do-do-do. Always look on the bright side of life.
And just before you draw your final breath,
dee-dee, dee-dee, dee-dee.
can't remember the rest of the words.